È con vero piacere che vi presentiamo l'intervista realizzata a Scott Hamilton pochi minuti prima del suo concerto tenutosi qui a Valenza lo scorso 23 novembre. Lui è classe 1954, più di 40 album al suo attivo, sassofonista di fama internazionale con radici negli anni 50, ma ex enfant terrible degli anni 70, oggi principale esponente del jazz mainstream. L'associazione Amici del Jazz di Valenza gli ha conferito il premio di quest'anno e noi l'abbiamo incontrato per voi.
I took clarinet lessons when I was very young, 8 years old. And I played for a few years, and then I gave it up, kind of. I played it in the school band, you know, marches and things like that. And then I took up the saxophone when I was older, about 16.
Why did you decide to change instruments?
Well, it was more complicated than that, because I was playing in some bands when I was 14, in blues bands. I was playing the harmonica, the blues harp, you know. And I did some gigs with some guys who could play some jazz, and it became a little jazzier, and I began to think it would be really nice if I had a saxophone. So I started thinking maybe I could play the saxophone because I have this clarinet background. It's almost the same fingering and a very similar approach to the instrument, yeah.
Right. And can you tell us a musician whom you were particularly pleased to play with?
I've been really, really lucky in that when I was very young, 22 years old, I had a chance to play with a lot of people, many of them, you know, my heroes, people who I grew up listening to. And it's almost impossible to say. I mean, I played with Benny Goodman, I played with Woody Herman, I played with great jazz musicians, Roy Eldridge, I played with Hank Jones, I played with Vic Dickinson. These were all guys very important to me. And I also have had the chance to work with many, many people along the way, singers and horn players. I've just been very fortunate. But I can't, you know, it's hard for me to think of one person, you know, that's been...
Yes, you have been playing with so many musicians.
It was a very lucky thing for me that in the world that I came to when I was in my 20s, there were jazz musicians from every part of the music, from the 20s, from the 30s, from the 40s, from the 50s, and they were all still playing. Most of them are gone now, but this was almost 1976. This was how long ago? 40 years ago, more?
More, even more.
50 years ago. 50 years ago. And yeah, it was an amazing time, and I just think of myself as being very lucky. You know, I could have been born 10 years later, and would only hear them on recording. You know.
So, yes, true. And one thing, I'm very curious about this. Do you think that there is any difference between European jazz and American jazz?
Well, it all depends on who's playing it. There are guys in Europe that play a very European influenced kind of jazz. I don't know how to say what's European. I suppose it has less really obvious American influence in it, or less African American influence in it. The jazz that I play is very strongly influenced by African American music from the 20th century.
Yes. And do you think that jazz music can be taught?
Well, yeah, but I think it's taught in a way. I don't know. There's a lot of things you can teach in the classroom, but I think there are certain parts of being a jazz musician that you can only learn on the job, on the stage,
Yes. What do you think about jazz today, and how does jazz evolve today?
Well, it's a very good question. They've been asking this question since I was very young, and I don't know. I have no idea where it's going or whether it matters, because I mean, the music I play is fairly old-fashioned in its influences. It's strongly influenced by the way guys were playing in the 50s and the 60s. But we try to make it fresh. We try to play it new each evening. We make the music alive. That's the important thing. There are guys who will take it somewhere else, I suppose, and that's natural too,
Yes. And is there a memory or a nice story that you can tell us about what happened, for example, during one of your concerts?
That's really almost impossible for me. Someday I'm going to sit down and I'm going to wait until I think of a funny story, and I'm going to write it down so that the next time somebody asks me that, I'll have an answer. A lot of funny things happen all the time, but whenever somebody asks me that, my brain freezes and I can't think of anything, something very funny could happen tonight. You never know.
I really hope so.
I promise I'll tell you if it does.
Yeah, please do that. Okay, and the last question.
Okay.
You are 60.
Yeah.
You're quite a legend.
Wow.
Yes. And after 40 albums and an amazing career, what's the big challenge for Scott Hamilton today?
Just to keep doing it. I enjoy my work, and I would be lost if I was unable to play. And at 64 now, I'm hoping I've still got another 20 years of sax playing ahead of me, but you never know, But then again, none of us know, so I just keep going.
Please.
Thank you.
That's important to us.
Thank you.
And thank you so much.
No, it's a pleasure.